So this week on the channel, we're gonna have you follow along with us on some of the stuff being done on the 32. So we're going to a HydroShock system on the front and rear, which is a hydraulic, it's a coilover shock, and then we can control the overall ride height based on a hydraulic system. And we have this suspension mocked up at ride height. The customer is wanting to use a 20-inch wheel with about a he's asking for a 28-inch overall tire diameter. Well, the stock wheel opening, the top of the tire would have been in the fender. So what Brandon's done is we're raising the wheel opening up, and we've raised it up 2 inches. So what he's done is he's came in and he's cut this factory lip out, took 2 inches out, raised it up, he's got it tacked in. We're gonna come in and we'll hammer form and make some new corners down here. We will continue the factory body line, roll these two in together also. And then we're gonna end up making our own wheel tub. And we're probably, because the fenders that on this car, this bolted in like this on the 5 window. So we're gonna cut this lip off and move the fender all the way in to where the inner surface of the wheel tub will be flush with the frame. And that'll give us the room to have at least maybe a 10-inch wheel. So that's kind of where we are right now. Brandon's got this cut out, tacked up, and that'll give us a 2-inch of suspension travel based on a 28-inch tall tire. And that's kind of where we are on that. And then we'll come around to the other side after we straightened the motor in the chassis. The trans tunnel was in the floor pan was kind of done with the motor based on the original position of the motor. Well, now that that's straight in the chassis, we're going to end up cutting some of this out, redoing the floor pans, and redoing the trans tunnel to make all this serviceable, accessible and serviceable. And you can see right now, before it had clearance because it was in there crooked. So we've got that straightened up on the chassis. Now we're going to make the floor fit the car or the chassis. So that's kind of where we are right now on that. We got more of the holes welded up on the firewall. This one's getting real close to being ready for body shop. And on that, on the C10. As we spoke in another video, we talked about how we were kind of opened up a can of worms, or we call it the domino effect. We showed you the wiring that we had taken out. One 10-gauge wire, and you can see right there, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 splices plus all these butt connectors. Well, it was beyond just the engine compartment area or the front harness. This whole thing ended up being that way, and so what we've done, we've totally stripped it, and we've gone to an American Auto Wire 15 circuit harness. We're changing that all out, plus we're changing it from the Phytech fuel injection control system to a Holley Terminator, I believe is what we're going, Holley Terminator. And so, like, part of the fuel tech or the Phytech stuff was bolted here, and we were going to weld the holes up. Well, once we got in there, you can see where we silicone bronzed the holes up, and we use silicone bronze to help keep the weight down. But this Bondo was a 1/4 inch thick here. And originally in the first video, we weren't going to the extent of this much modification to the firewall, but that's dominoed into, you can see where the factory AC and heater hoses came out, and they were just hanging across the motor. And this customer, one of the things he's asked for was we clean this engine compartment up, hide as much as we can, hide all the new wiring, the fuel injection stuff as much as possible. So we've welded these holes up again with silicone bronze, welded up the holes. They had just taken a stud, a flathead, like a countersunk bolt, ran it through a hole and welded that on there to give them a stud on the inside. And we've actually used like an elevator bolt. Don't have any laying around here, but here's one right here. So we'll use these a lot of times, and it gives us a surface to weld to around the lip. It's a 1/4 20, and then this gives us a fairly long stud to mount things to on the inside of the car. and room for carpet insulation and carpet. So, and we also relocated the AC unit to give us more room because we're going to bring the hoses out over here. We've gone to some nut certs in some areas for stuff that's underneath the dash. Now we are going to reusing the mechanics of the fuel injection system. So this still has the Phytech name on it, the manifold, but we're probably going to take this off maybe and get rid of that name. And redo a throttle cable. We're rerouting that. Will make us a fresh air intake, but we're reusing the mechanics of the fuel injection system. We're going to replumb all that. We had all of the AC system. We're going to have all that repolished. We also redid the steering column. So this actually is going to be the lower mount, but the way it's designed, it's a squeeze clamp system. It's been welded up, so the column will come through because it has a universal identical column in here now instead of a factory OEM replacement. So that will help seal up that hole. We welded up the factory wiring hole. For the wiring, we're going to bring the wires out down low over on this side so everything's hidden. If you want to stick your head in on the door over there. So you can see there we have the bulk of some of the fuel injection kind of pre-laid out and whatnot. We have the AC unit remounted now. The ECU is going to be mounted under the seat here. This is our American Auto wire, and he's making a plate that will hold everything, and then all that wiring will be integrated together up under the dash, and then allow us to bring the wires out down low. We've done that. We've relocated, or going to relocate probably the throttle pedal on that. So that's kind of where we are on this one. And then we'll recarpet it. And it had a molded carpet kit that was a little oversized for whatever reason. And so more than likely we're just going to put I'll just do a custom carpet in it and use some of the European wool carpet. So that's where we are on the C10. This one's moving quite a bit faster than I had anticipated, even with all the additional stuff being done to it. So we're getting ready to pull the motor and tranny out so we can finish the body work on the firewall and get it weld up some last minute holes. But we had to pull the pan off to drain the fluid out of the transmission. And one of the things that wanted to make it a point on these aftermarket dipsticks, you want to make sure that it's critical on the depth. So theoretically, the pan gasket is going to be your full line of your transmission fluid level. And so when you buy an aftermarket dipstick, if you'll notice here, this one's got the hash marks. They stop here, which is about 3/8 of an inch, maybe ½ inch lower than the dipstick. So you just want to double check that, and if need be, cut it to length to where that's right, so that you always have the correct level of fluid in your transmission. We got this little S10 in, local customer. We've messed with it a little bit in the past. It's got a Holley, like a Holley sniper system on it, and it's just not running like it should, and we're not for sure exactly what's going on. So customer brought it up here and had Mike put his laptop on it, and we went and drove it, and at idle it does fine. Under no load it does fine, but under a hard load it's running like it's lean. So, but we have no way of knowing what the fuel pressure is while we're driving it and whatnot. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to come into the fuel regulator, and we're going to put in a fuel pressure transducer right here, wire it into the system, and then go drive it under a load, pretty hard load, and monitor the actual fuel pressure under the load, because it's got a little gauge on it, but we can't see that while we're driving it, and those aren't as accurate. And this will tell us if it's going lean. It's actually running like it's going lean. It's not popping and banging, but it is running very similar to a lean situation. So this will give us an idea of what the fuel pressure is, and then we'll know if it needs more fuel pump or where to start looking. It could be other things, but currently it's just running like it's a lean situation, like it's not got enough fuel pump for the fuel injection. So we're going to do this, monitor it, and then we'll have a better idea of what we got going on with that. And then we'll make any adjustments prior to that with the tune and stuff like that. So that's kind of what we got going on with this S10. We're waiting on the fuel pressure transducer to come in. That'll come in, we'll get right on that, get that taken care of. So that's kind of where we are on this little project. So let's take a quick look at where we are on the C10 project. We, as you can tell, we've got the motor pulled out, and done that for several reasons, but the main reason is so we can get into the firewall and get in there and finish welding up these last few holes that we got to deal with. Where the factory throttle pedal was, it was pretty butchered up. There was like 5 or 6 holes there. I don't even know what the other 2 up there were for, but they were still there. And we're going to weld those up, get it prepped and ready for paint and body, and clean up some of the wiring that we haven't even got to yet and addressed. Get that done, and that will also allow us to figure out where we're going to route some of the stuff before the motor goes back in it. The whole goal of some of this is to actually hide as much of the wiring and fuel lines as we possibly can. So that's kind of where we are on this. Got all the holes filled up on that. On this side over here, again, our AC lines and other things will be coming out on this side. You see here how bad some of it wasn't even stuck. I mean, we did some welding up here, but this wasn't even stuck very good. It's got a lot of Bondo in it. We're going to address all that issues. It's that, what do I call it? Auction vehicle. It's lipstick on a pig. Here on the 32 project, we talked earlier about what we were going to be doing with raising the wheel openings. You can see here he's actually got it cut. This is actually now raised 2 inches from where it was factory. That's already done, body worked in. We're starting to do some tweaking on the floor pans to make all that work. And we do have some aftermarket wheel tubs coming in that'll make that go a lot quicker, finishing that out. We're just waiting for those to show up. So that's kind of where we are this week. At the end of the week on this stuff here, we will be starting next week on the, on the headliner for the Torino. Game plan is we're going to turn the body upside down on the rotisserie. We'll come in and I'll use heavy masking tape and some cardboard and blend from the perimeter in to where it's all smooth edges. and then we will cover that with layers of fiberglass mat, get it all resin, and we're going to make a super thin two-piece, actually we're going to do a two-piece headliner right here at this seam, factory beam, and which will be right above the roll cage. That's where we're planning on doing all that. So that'll get started sometime next week. 32, we got that talked about. We talked about the C10. We got the other stuff that we've done. So that's kind of where we are at the end of this week. I want to thank y'all for watching, and please pass the word, like and subscribe. And again, if you haven't seen anything that you want to see on our channel, send us a message or give us a phone call or something and ask us to look into certain things, and we'll get that taken care of. And for everybody out there, let's have a happy and safe happy Easter. Thank you.